Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Sight. Today I have round two of Kings of Winter versus Michael Sigler and his Ratkin. Michael also had a draw in the first round, so we are paired up. I believe this is the first time I've faced off against Michael on the channel here, so normally, he's recently been playing Forces of the Abyss all the past year or so. So the rats are pretty new to him, but he seems to be doing pretty well with them so far. So let's go ahead and dive into his list and we'll get into the game. So his 2400 point list included a horde of spear warriors, two hordes of shock troops, both with plague pots and halberds for the phalanx. One of them had the Brew of Strength. He has two claw shots, regiment of tunnel runners with the sharpness, as you do, triple weapons teams. He has a Night Terror, which I think is the best update to the Ratkin list for the Clash of Kings book. This guy going to a monster slot really helps the army, and he gained Rally 1, so I think he's an excellent choice. Gives a little speed to the army. He also has a mutant rat fiend. He told me he has a really cool model for it, and since it's a 2400 point list, he had the points to be able to squeeze it in there. So that's why he put it in. It's decent as well, but he agrees that the Night Terror is probably his preferred choice for a monster slot. He has Tangle, a Warlock with Lightning Bolt, Banechant 3, two Brood Mothers, both with the Blight Staffs, and Mother Kryza. So brings him up to 16 drops and 24 unit strength. So there is Michael in the Chiefs gear. This was over the Chiefs game on Saturday where they played against. Who did they play against? They beat them so bad, I forget. Oh yeah, the Miami Dolphins. So a lot of us were in Chiefs gear. You know, being in Springfield, Missouri here, lots of fans. So it was pretty fun. After the days of games, we went and hung out at the Wichita guys Airbnb all together and watched the Chiefs game. So had a really good time with that. So let's go ahead hop into the game. So this one we are playing Dominate. I was able to choose sides, and as you can see, kind of the same thing as the last table. There are two impassable pieces on one half of the table, so I chose to try to avoid that. I'm not terribly familiar with deploying this army, so try not to complicate it even more than I have to. So terrain wise, we have an obstacle on the far left, far right, the two impassables here, two hills across the middle, forest in top right, bottom center, flat difficult in the bottom right and the left. So pretty straightforward. The dominate circle, it's a little harder to get to from this side being as there's one of those impassables in the way, but that little token shows us where the center of the board is right now. So this is after I scout forward. So as you can see, I'm deploying these guys behind the lines and then scouting through. There's really no need for them to be up any further than that at any point in the game. So I feel like that works pretty well. So getting cover here, stand behind the hill here, just in case we don't get first turn. So deployment, Michael has his Night Terror out here with one of the weapons teams, the Horde of Spears, Brood Mother with another weapons team, and the Abomination. Behind the house on his base here is the Regiment of Tunnel Runners with Sharpness. We can kind of see that better here. He has both hordes of shock troops over here. The big blue house has the sharp or strength on it. He has, what does he have behind here? I forget. One of the claw shots, two of the claw shots there and there. He has Tangled. Mother Cries is the one on the rock. Another Brood Mother. Last weapons team sitting here. The Warlock with Lightning Bolt and Bane Chant. And then out on the far right, he has his Chariot, which is the new one. We didn't see that in the first game. So the Chariot has Aura Stealthy, which so very surprised with his positioning. Even later on in the game, Michael told me that he didn't realize how much shooting the Salamanders actually had. Otherwise, he would have changed deployments for this. But anyway, he decided to put the Chariot way out here, which the only thing benefiting from the stealthy aura is this horde of rats. So, um, yeah, but he's definitely trying to layer up, stack up so that he can get into the dominate circle as best he can around this impassable. My deployment, I started with, we got a horde of Scorchwings out on the far left. I have the Ancients here. This is my Frost Monster, which this game we got Radiance of Life, I believe it was. So that's good when you're sitting next to a horde of ancients. We like that. Greater Fire Ellie, the Mage Priest behind, the Ceremonial Guard. We have Rakaz. We then have the Horde of Fire Ellies, Ancient Phoenix on the line. I wanted to get some decent shooting out of it, and yeah, so I put it on the line this time. And I outranged, mostly speed 6 across the board, and his tunnel runners are behind the line over there. So I felt pretty comfortable with putting the Phoenix out in front here, and kind of also wanted him to shoot at it, just because a lot of his shooting has piercing. So the defense too from the Ancient Phoenix, his piercing's kind of wasted on it, and then it's got pretty good regen. So, but yeah, horde of Scorchwings, the Sky Lord, and then I did put the Rhino Cav out way far on the right. Main reason for this is the Rhino Cav aren't really gonna be useful against all the spear hordes. Um, so I figure, if they're out here, one, there's terrain pieces they can mitigate out here with the J boots, and then I can limit his chariot's effectiveness out here as well. Force him to try and come into these guys. I don't know. I just didn't think the rhinos were really gonna do a whole lot for me. I felt like the infantry and the fire elementals especially were gonna do better and more for me. So I was, even though the rhinos cost more and they on paper usually put out more damage, this game they're pretty easily countered by 3 hordes of phalanx. Um, so yeah, I was a little bit less. Their positioning was a little less important to me, I guess. So, yeah, so we roll off the first turn, and I get to go first again. Gotta love that. So I go ahead and push forward very aggressively because we got to get to that dominate circle. So on the left, we push everything forward, move up to where we can get some shots. I went ahead and just kind of repositioned the what's it called, the monster frost monster behind the lines. Yeah, just because at this point there's no need for him to go way up here and potentially get charged and shot off. I know he has stealthy, he's kind of hard to shoot at, but he's got Radiance of Life, so he's more of a support backup. He is facing straight forward still. It's just this club and the trees weren't working properly. I believe this is after shooting because I went ahead and surged forward this Fire Ellie. with this mage priest, so it was able to get up there faster, further. Yeah, and then we walked in, speed 6 only. One thing that I wish Rakaz had was some form of Pathfinder or Strider. I do find that him lacking that does hurt, but otherwise, I mean, it's tough though. He has 12 attacks, he hits on 3, and he has crush 2 vicious. Like if he had Pathfinder or Strider, it'd be pretty nasty. Um, so can't really complain too much, but yeah, I wanted him in the forest because I feel like he's one of the key targets for like claw shots, being a Titan. Those claw shots aren't going to get clear shots on anything except for against the Phoenix, which is again what I was wanting him to shoot at. Yeah, just moved up and positioned in such a way that we're trying to choke him out so that he can't move forward aggressively against us. And so that we can hopefully get some shots off. So, our shooting, we do put 4 wounds on the Brood Mother. That was from the uh, Horde of Scorchwings and the Ember Sprites going into it. I believe the Fireball, yeah, was just out from the this guy. So yeah, not bad. Happy with 4 wounds. And then we shot at the stealthy bubble. So why not? Did 3 wounds to that. So yeah, pretty satisfied with that. So Michael's turn. He moves forward a little bit to try and keep a steady line going here. But yeah, he keeps an even line because he's afraid of the surge potential on this side, at least from the greater fire ellie and this the mage priest that's over here. Otherwise, there's really not much for if he advances too far for stuff to hit him in the flanks. I don't really have a fast flying unit in the center, so keeping the straight line should protect him pretty well. But there's always issues with doing that as well, and we'll kind of cover that on my turn here. So he moves forward. He starts shooting. One of his key things. Oh, he did move the Night Terror, swung it out on this side. He does have a decent line of sight that he can draw from here, and speed 9, so 18-inch range is pretty threatening. But yeah, we're not too worried about it quite yet. Um, but yeah, he was starting to move in position so that he could get shots off onto Scorch Wings, onto the Ember Sprites on the hill as well. He really wanted to take out the Ember Sprites this turn. That was kind of his key target there. And then move forward. So Mother Cries is actually on the line, which does put her on the hill here. So he just kept her behind because she wasn't going to sit there. So yeah, his shooting, unfortunately for him, did not see much shot very well. I believe he put 6 or 7 wounds on the Ember Sprites, but failed to kill them. So that's definitely unfortunate for him. And I think he only put 2 or 3 wounds. It was only one thing that shot at it here. The rest of it was shooting at the Ember Sprites for this turn. And then he did a couple wounds to this Scorchwing Horde over here as well with his claw shots and lightning bolts and everything. But yeah, we were still kicking, and as you can see, this is my turn. So we went ahead and we're jamming up the lines pretty effectively and getting some key combats going, and we'll get in a little closer there. So the key combats I was really hoping for was the Fire Ellie against his Brood Mother. It's not really likely that I kill him in one round of combat, but if I do get lucky, one, that's the only inspiring piece he has on this half of the table, so that's big. And two, then the fire alley, because he created an even line across everything here, fire alley just stays put, and then he can either charge or get surged into a flank this next turn without any issues. So that's what I really want him to be able to do. I should say he weakened the ceremonial guard from Tangle last turn as well, so they're not really going to do a whole lot against the abomination. But I threw him in there because I was able to successfully block off this horde over here, which I'll show a little bit closer in a moment. Positioning here, he can charge. He can only see these guys, which after the Radiant's life, they went down to 1 wound. So he can charge them. 5 attacks, no support. It's not going to do enough. The my frost monster's in a position where he could see after you charge and get the flank. So he definitely doesn't want to do that. And then I have a clear shot onto this little bastard right here, the weapons team. So that's also something I mentioned to Michael is he split up his weapons teams, which as you can see, the putting of wounds on a bunch of different units, it's not terribly effective. I told him it's probably best just to focus fire and kill one thing when you're shooting at it. So, yeah, so let's head over to the other side here. And the Mage Priest got on the hill so he can fireball over the top onto this weapons team. So, the issue with putting a straight line across the board is one, you get charged and multi charged. Not really multi charge over here on the left, but you get a lot of favorable charges. He could easily have had these guys back and layered to where there was no legal charge because of the terrain for the ceremonial guard. But yeah, he did not have that because he was afraid of the surge potential. Um, so this little Ember Sprite unit charging the Broodmother here has blocked off 3 units effectively. One, this unit, if it pivots 90 degrees, it will clear, but when it moves straight forward, it hits the rocks, the impassable, before it connects with the flank of my horde. So I block off his charge angle, leaving him only a legal charge to the flank of these guys. He also blocks off the Broodmother and Mother Kryza, who is right in line with this. So we got a 3-for-1 special up here, and we got clear shots that are able to go into these shock troops here because, yeah, we're not blocking off the majority of his base. So uh, because Rakaz did not have Pathfinder, we moved him out of the force, and we don't have to worry about getting charged by anybody. And then over here, I want to kill this stealthy aura and the chariot. So, and like I said, these Rhinosaur Cav really aren't going to be doing a whole lot effectively. So we might as well charge the one thing that we can kill. He gave it to us. So we popped J boots and we went in here, and we should be able to clean that up pretty easily. Uh, and we didn't have to, but it was more to block off this horde from getting into anything else over here. Um, so we went ahead and charged the Sky Lord into them here just as a chaff piece in this particular situation. So, um, yeah. So pretty happy with this movement and this turn. We are not likely killing things outside of maybe this chariot with our charges, but we're getting positions and we're holding Michael's army back. And then we're applying a lot of shooting pressure as well. We're making it to where his valuable units are going to be attacking very invaluable, not valuable units of mine. So while we're picking on them and shooting them and taking apart some of the other key pieces we need to. So, uh, yeah, so that's the downside of just forming an even battle line across the line is you give your opponent a lot of options. And if they can kind of pick you apart in an optimal way, a lot of times that sets you on the back foot. So the surge flanks are, threatening, but is a single fire elemental surge flank worth, kind of getting put into a poor position? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on the situation. But right now, I feel like we have everything we want going for us at this moment. So shooting, we were able to shoot off the weapons team over here, and we killed the chariot in combat over here. So, and after we killed the chariot, we went ahead and just sidestepped. We already popped our J boots, but if we're hitting these guys, he's only giving us a front charge anyway. We're going to be hindered or phalanx, so can't stack them both. So might as well just get some cover and then also force him to look a little bit wider here. Yeah, this is how we end up. I did not kill the Broodmother. I believe I might have gotten a waiver on her, but that was kind of the big one where if that spiked in our favor, that was a huge win on the left side here. But didn't get it, but we're in a good position because we've chaffed up effectively, and then our ancients are coming off the hill, which we don't get the thunderous charge against spears, but we're coming in to block up the line, and there's no way he's removing these ancients because there's no way he can fit his tunnel runners into any of these combats due to the impassable terrain and everything. So yeah, like I said, we like our positioning. Going into Michael's turn, and he decides on this type of movement here. So let's get in a little closer. So he was unable to move 9 and pivot to get out of front arc of at least one of the two. He could have done it to get out of front arc of the Scorchwings, but the way I have my giant positioned, his front arc actually extends further. So the giant would have been able to reach him because he would have had to come at a closer angle. So he chose not to allow the giant to charge, but to allow the horde to charge in this positioning. And I know Michael said his thought is if he takes that horde out of the combat here or the main lines for a couple turns, then it's worth it to him. So and it's worth it to me to secure my flank because this is the only thing that's unaccounted for and potentially getting any value later in this game. So and then countercharged across the line here on this side of the board. He went ahead and took the flank. I did not do a wound to the Broodmother. I was hindered, so I was coming out of the forest. So he went ahead and just withdrew with the Broodmother, and he's going to shoot, and he's lightning bolting with Mother Kryza. This individual was within an inch of the unit when I charged, so he was able to move him forward. And his goal here is to, this guy is centered up here. He's over there just so that he doesn't get knocked over, basically. Anyway, so his goal is to allow his shooting to still be effective here, while the melee unit's picking up the chaff piece. Yeah. So also he's looking at reforms, which is definitely a good habit to get into. Is how is this unit going to look after it clearly kills the unit that it's in combat with, like a Skylord or a flank of a Ember Sprite unit. So he has to maneuver them, position them to where they're looking over towards these ancients. But that exposes the flank from Rakaz. he is blocking that with the individual. Even though it's yielding, I am not able to land without touching the individual. So he's forcing me to kill the individual, overrun, which is not that reliable or easy to do. Um, so yeah, he's kind of forcing my hand into a poor position, but and then he's going to shoot at the Scorch Wings, who have 2 wounds after the Radiance of Life from the Phoenix. I should say my shooting did fairly well between the Phoenix, this horde, and Rakaz going into. They all went into the horde of shock troops. I believe I put them up to 10 or 11 wounds. So very happy with that. These guys are much more manageable to kill. Definitely trying to focus on the larger unit strength units. So the hordes are kind of my key here, key targets here to try and pick up. He does shoot enough and pick up the horde of Scorchwings. Not really too surprising there. He had quite a bit. He was even in range with the weapons team to shoot. So he kills the uh, chaff bees as we expected, and positions like this because that horde of scorchwings is gone. He's keeping all of these guys in the front, except for the phoenix. The phoenix could charge the flank, but 3 attacks, whoop-de-doo. And then he positions as we discussed. So the rhinos will be in the front. I should say as well, he popped plague pots this turn for both of his hordes on this side here. So the rhinos will be at -2 coming in, phalanx and ensnare. And anybody charging here will be at -1 because phalanx doesn't affect monsters or large infantry. So this is how it looks. And I go ahead and commit in. So we'll dive in a little bit. Like I said, I went ahead and moved to get Radiance of Life to effect. Got these guys up to full health again. More than happy to try and take this guy out for the cost of this horde. This horde wasn't going to do anything anyway against spears. Um, so I'm fine with them getting a little bit of value out here. Hopefully it doesn't go as poorly as my left flank on the last game, but yeah, you never know. We'll see. And then I go ahead and double charge the spears, which have a wound still on them from the Ember Sprites, so yay. But got the Ancients and the Giant in there, and then countercharge, countercharge. He did put a fair amount of wounds onto this horde. So my charge positioning, I'm trying to utilize the, I believe it's the Inferno keyword, the new one that gives +1 life leech to Flamebound or Fireborn. I forget which keywords what, but anyway, the Ceremonial Guard get life leech for each of the 3 units that are nearby him, which is the Fire Elemental, Rakaz has the keyword, and the Fire Elemental unit. So I had the ability to simply move the Fire Elemental horde over and then surge them into the flank of this horde, but they're already on 11 wounds, I think it is, and 12 wounds after Cloak of Death popped from the Phoenix here, who is actually facing this way. And them being positioned here gives these guys an extra life leech. Also, if I do happen to snake guys or roll poorly, I just like this battle line better. So I went ahead and chose to take the front instead of going for the flanks. And then that leaves me the ability to fireball over the top here again. So, and then we bring the rhinos on the far right over into the mix here. Um, yeah, like I said, their job is to do something, anything that I'll take it. So, yeah. So let's go to combat. We do get lucky. He did not weakness or fail to weakness the horde this last turn. So they actually did a really good, decent amount of wounds. I think we had like 4 wounds or so, 5 wounds maybe, that stuck onto the abomination. So they cleaned it up, which is great. We between I did heal Radiance of Life, the 3 life leech that we had. Um, I think we're down to like 2 wounds on the horde, so which is really good. They had taken like 6 or 7 wounds from the abomination, so um, yeah, was in a really good spot. Um, One thing I wish I had done differently here, I um, I went to kill the inspiring first, which I think is definitely the right choice. But I wasn't expecting to kill the A bomb. I'll be honest. So after I killed the inspiring, I just kept the fire Ellie where he was sitting. And then after attacking the abomination and killing it, I look at it and I'm like, I wish I backed up with the fire Ellie. Couldn't have gone too far, but if this unit stayed where it was, then the fire Ellie wasn't going to be able to be charged. And I'd rather have them as a counter charger than taking the brunt of the hit, especially from a unit like shock troops, or not shock troops, tunnel runners back here. I'd rather put them into the spears, lose their thunderous, so they only have crushing strength. Um, and this horde obviously has a much higher nerve value. So just a little mistake. Should have kind of foreseen and backing up basically an inch is all they could. Wouldn't have been the end of the world even if the A bomb did stick around. So just a little mistake on my end. So another big thing is this guy did not get wavered. If he was wavered, that'd be beautiful. But no, he's still kicking, so he'll be able to run away and let these guys come in. Over on the right, I did kill this horde, which was expected since it had so many wounds. Went ahead and ran forward with Rakaz just to kind of force him to do a little something. Tango can charge me, but I can nimble around and hit either one of these. What are they called? Claw shots. Um, yeah. So, and putting Rakaz in a position where if he wants to really deal with him, he has to shoot him, but he has to kind of turn around. So the fire Ellies are going to be a problem for him too. So, um, yeah. And I did get a lucky waiver out on the left for the first round of combat, which is great. So happy all around with that. So this is how it looks going into Michael's bottom of 3, and this is how it looks after. So he shot the horde of fire Ellies and got him up to 11 wounds. I believe no shattering for him. So 11 wounds, so he needed a 6 twice. He did not get it. Unfortunate. He had to shoot at Rakaz with one of these guys, so he did a couple wounds to him because Rakaz was blocking off line of sight over here. Uh, Combat, he did charge in. He got 13 wounds on the Greater Fire Ellie. Uh, the Fire Ellie had a wound or a couple wounds left over still from before, but he didn't break it. He needed the 5 twice, and unlucky. So a couple of key nerve rolls going in my favor here. That's are it's kind of a toss up. They're well within the margin of error. 6 twice and a 5 twice here. Um, and then nothing else really of importance. But I should say this is a really big one because if he does kill the fire Ellie, 1 inch backup gets him to where I can't charge because of the impassable terrain. But because he doesn't break the fire Ellie, he has to stay there, and it's a front charge for me. And that's not good for his shock troops or tunnel runners at all. So my turn, and we go ahead and do things. So counter charge, just charged all across the board over here as expected. Oh, that's what happened. The funny thing, you look at Rakaz, he hasn't really moved. That's because even though he failed all these other nerve rolls, he did roll a boxcars against Rakaz with the 2 wounds that he did to him. So Rakaz is gonna be sticking there around there, just looking kind of dumb. But yeah, I'd rather Rakaz be wavered and this unit be alive. So I'll take that trade. And he didn't do enough to break these guys over here, which I'm not inspired, so it's dicey. Had a decent chance of breaking him, honestly. Combat, we break the Night Terror. Hey, 2 rounds of combat, you guys killed something. That's what we needed last game, but better late than never, I guess. And then we pick everything up. So we killed the horde of spears. We killed the tunnel runners. I went ahead and just overran with the fire Ellie, and I backed up. So these guys are actually facing forward, but they backed up. I think it was like 3 inches, just because being up against that impassable piece really limits what they can actually do. And then over here on the right, with my shooting between the Phoenix and this guy's fireball, we did 7 wounds to this guy. Cloak of Death obviously helped, and we wavered his broodmother. But I think the biggest thing is that fire elementals going into a fully rallied Mother Kryza, so 15-17 with ensnare, fire elementals with no support. They don't have a magic item. There's no Bane chant. The only thing that supported them was a Cloak of Death trigger. They pick up Mother Kryza in 1 round of combat. I did 9 wounds with the combat. You know, the 10th wound was from the Cloak of Death. So, holy crap. Some amazing dice there for sure. And this turn really just swings the door wide open for me here in this game. It's looking pretty bad on Michael's side right now. So um, yeah, so bottom 4 to Michael, and he doesn't have a whole lot left here. So he positions. There's really not a whole lot. He turns around and shoots at the fire Ellie, who was heavily damaged. I think he was down to 12 wounds because of Radiance of Life. Does a wound, gets it back up to 13. Still can't get the 5 twice. Unlucky. But even bigger, these guys are at, I think, 15 wounds, 17 wounds. Because the way I reformed, he went ahead and took a flank with Tangle, but he snake eyes. So it's one of those games. Yeah. Just sucks. Sucks for Michael. Sucks to be in that position, but he snake eyes. It's pretty big here. Yeah. Got him up to 14 wounds, it looks like, but yeah, it was a true snake eyes. He needed anything but, and he got the butt. So um he does kill the Rhinosaur Cav at least, but between the couple of things they've been in combat with, these guys are up to 12 wounds, so they're not meant for this world either at this point. So it goes into my turn 5, and it's pretty much just going to be cleanup time here. We did I miss some pictures? What happened here? I think I skipped what happened on my turn and just skipped ahead. But we charge the horde with the fire elementals and pick up the horde. We charge the rear of Tangle and pick it up. And then we shoot off a little bit more stuff. So we shot off the Broodmother. And yeah, so this is how we were positioned. His turn, he shoots off those guys, puts a couple more wounds onto Rakaz. and he does end up killing the elemental greater fire elemental, which did charge and kill the weapons team over here. So turn 6, this is where I get a little bloodlust, and I probably should have remembered that we're playing blackjack, but you'll see the positioning here, and then I just run away from the center zone. So going for kill points when I definitely should not be. I took 4 unit strength out of the middle. You can get up to a +4 battle points if you have 10 unit strength or more in the middle. Right now I have 3, 6, 7 unit strength in the middle, so I'm getting a +3, which is good, but a guaranteed +4 because these guys have been healed back up to full, and there's not enough shooting to take them out. So I really should have focused on the objective and not tried to completely table them. So, but anyway, I'm trying to shoot at these guys and then charge the other ones. Trying to go for the full tabling here. So we shoot over there. We shoot there. I pick up the individual. I do not get this claw shot. I do kill everything else though. Um, yeah, and that's where the game ends. I forget. Maybe I wavered him, or he shot, but there's really nothing in threat of getting kills. So this is where the game ends. So I believe I got 19 points out of the blackjack scenario. Missed one for the objective. I missed one for the kill. Kill's really tough to get. You have to have an 1,800 point difference or more. So the 1,800 difference out of a potential 2,500 point game. You have to table your opponent and lose less than 700. So that's pretty tough. So in this one, I think it was like a 1,300 kill point difference. But yeah, we got a big win. As you can see, there was, we got good positioning. We got the charges we want. We were really in control. We got the side of the table we want, which I think was really the big role. So a lot of stuff went our way, and we made a couple of minor mistakes, but nothing that we got punished for in the end effectively. So um, when things go your way and you just kind of keep rolling and you don't get punished, games get out of hand sometimes. And this one, Michael's dice just were not there for him when he needed them. I think if they were, this is a much closer game. I think we still had the position to pull out the win for dominate, but I don't think it's definitely not a 19-2. So, um, and one other thing we got this time was the bonus point for our giant was alive. It was in combat, and we killed his frost chariot. So we effectively got a 20 points out of this win. So that puts us right up there with our 11-point draw we had in the first round. We're sitting pretty good with 1 win, 1 draw. So we're looking at likely playing some other people that have 2-0'd at this point in the event. So, but great game. Great to play against Michael. Like I said, we hadn't played in a while, so I'm glad that we got to play and got on the YouTube channel here. So, looking forward to our next matchup. And yeah, thanks for the game, Michael. So. That's all I have for you tonight, so we'll catch you in the next one, guys.